Warning: the following video contains personal opinions and may contain potential bias. Anyone sensitive to someone else's opinion may want to turn away now. But thanks for watching anyways. Oh jeez. Am I too late? Oh. Huh. Yeah, I am. Far too late. Well, even though it is undoubtedly impossible to add any of these items to someone's stocking, I think now is a better time than ever to talk about the top 10 weirdest Pokemon merchandise for the third time, and what we're calling the re-gifting. Now I know there's some mild redundancy in the fact that this is the third time I'm doing a video on weird Pokemon merchandise, and the fact I'm still calling these top 10s, but nevertheless, they keep outdoing themselves. Most of these are modern merchandise that came out within the last year. You won't be able to get it in time for Christmas, but you can still get them as a weird novelty that'll only make your friends deeply question your financial decisions. And I will preface that all of the following merchandise is real and it is officially licensed. Because while unofficial merchandise can go into some very awkward places, the following are all official and most of them can only be found in Japan. But I, to the surprise of no one, own a handful of the items on the following list. So with all that said, let's not waste any more time. Welcome everyone to the Server League's Top 10 Weird Pokemon Merchandise 3, the re-gifting. Number 10. Pokemon Teacup time. Starting things off rather light, we have what is actually a pretty cute Pokeball-inspired teacup. What makes it head-tilting though, is the range of Pokemon that you can get inside the teacup, the chief of which being Mew. Now it is worth noting that the Pokemon itself is not glued into the cup. The Mew is a separate piece and is effectively a cute, very tiny little PVC statue. And you just place it in the cup and there you go. That's about it. I don't know why this exists. I don't know why they came up with it. It is cute. They're probably banking on that. Have you ever wanted a little Mew in a teacup? Well, here you go. And I did buy one of these, but not the Mew one. I instead got the Chikorita in a teacup. Though given that it's a Chikorita on the Server League, chances are that teacup was originally filled with hot chocolate. Yes, I have a Chikorita sitting in a teacup, always staring at me from my weird hodgepodge of a shelf next to my desk. What's so weird about that? Number 9. Pokemon coo'nuts. Yes, that is what they're called. I get it, sort of, but all I can do is just tilt my head and wonder, why? Not just a pun, but this. What are we looking at here? Do any of you remember Crazy Bones? Too young to remember those? Well, what about Mighty Beans? Oh, are people potentially too young to remember Mighty Beans? Well, what you're looking at here is essentially a plastic bean. It has a weight in one side, so that way it's always sitting upright, and when you rest it upside down, it'll instantly flip itself right side up. And that's about it. It's weighted on one side, has decent heft, pretty good plastic quality, details all around look pretty nice. It's just, have you ever wanted an Eevee shaped like a bean? Well, here you go. Other Pokemon in the range are pretty much the staple classics that you would expect. The Kanto starters, Pikachu, Eevee, and for most part they seem pretty decent. They didn't skip out on the back, which is pretty nice, but what actually earned us a spot on the list wasn't the Eevee that I own here, it was instead this. Ditto. Yes, that's it. It's just a pink, or kind of purple, depending on how you look at it, weighted bean with 2 dots and a line. And that's literally it. Oddly enough, it's the only Pokemon of all the beans where being this shape is technically possible for that Pokemon in the first place, so it makes sense, but I find it weird because they chose to make Ditto one of the Pokemon in this range. But then again, I bought it, so in a way they won anyways, because I bought it as a joke. Maybe that's what they're banking on. And I guess there's not much more that can be said other than that. It's a pink bean with a smiley face on it. That's literally it. Oi! Number 8. The Pokemon Scizor Sticker Grabber. So spoiler alert, this is the only item on the list that is not exclusively from Japan. And what we have here is a freebie included in some kind of Pokemon sticker album thing. But what I find even stranger about this item is that it's not something from over 15 years ago back in the good old days of Gen 2. over 15 years ago. Jeez. No! Instead, if you look to Scissor's right, you can clearly see the Alolan starters, which means that, as I said at the very beginning, this is an item that came out relatively recently, within Gen 7 at the very least. So really, I'm just impressed that Scizor of all Pokemon got to be the weird promotional sticker grabber item. I can't even fathom how this thing actually works. Do you squeeze the legs together and that clamps down on the stickers? Is it just manual, making the whole process of grabbing the stickers kind of pointless? Also, it's Scizor, the Pokemon whose name can often be mispronounced as scissor, as in a thing that would cut the stickers. A lot of this seems incredibly impractical, very silly, and I suppose it's one way to kind of give you a Scizor action figure. One with very, very huge clamps, but still, this is weird. Very weird. If only because of the choice of Pokemon, the era that it's being associated with, and just the design is kinda goofy. But hey, for all I know, maybe this is a 15-year-old accessory being packed in with a modern sticker album. I mean, it's entirely possible. If anyone actually has this, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm curious how this thing works. Or if you want to send one to me, I mean, I won't say no, but hey, at least I can say I don't own this among all the other items on the list. Hey. Number 7. Pokemon Chikakuni Rikamo, or question mark, which I suppose is also quite appropriate. For whatever reason, we have another example of cute little Pokemon figurines being paired up with ordinary objects, in this case being road signs. And I can't quite figure out why. All I know is you guys are seeing the example that I actually own, which is Eevee, which has its own little Eevee crossing sign. In fact, I made a review about it. I bought it entirely for the purpose of this kind of video, as well as the joke and the mild cuteness factor of something like this actually existing. I mean, it's a very cute Eevee. It's actually posed in such a way that it's kind of leaning over the sign, which is very cute. But why? Why, Japan? Why do this? Why do you do these things? Oh, because suckers like me buy them. I guess I just answered my own question, didn't I? I mean, it's cute, but why don't we get stuff like this? Well, I know why, because it's silly. But then again, have you seen some of the blind boxes that are clogging Toys R Us's? Oh, wait. Most countries around the world don't have Toys R Us's anymore. Eey. But still, we have all sorts of blind boxes for very silly and stupid things. Why don't we have some of this stuff? Huh. Surely it can't get worse than this, can it? Oh, wait. There's the whole rest of the list. Number 6. Pokemon Pikachu Sasate. So based on the stock image you're seeing here, things look pretty tame so far, right? I mean, it's just a collection of Pikachu in various poses. Some are cute, and overall, it seems kind of harmless. Well, for most part. There's one in particular, the one that I bought, once again, specifically for this video, that's a little awkward. And in particular, this is the stock photo I saw that made me want to purchase it. Pikachu's looking a little suggestive there, I think. Here it is on my display. It looks pretty cute, it's clever enough, but it's Pikachu, eyes closed with a rather relaxed face, spread eagle lying back, and you guys can fill in the rest because I don't want this video to get demonetized. But needless to say, this Pikachu needs a bit more class because I don't quite approve of how happy it is with itself. And I don't quite want to know what's going on here to complete the scene, so to speak. That's what got this here on the list. Mainly that Pikachu. It's just a bit too suggestive for my liking. But then again, there is potentially worse. No, I'm not kidding. There is worse than this. Because at least coming to this conclusion requires imagination. Number 5. Pokemon Pikachu Pitito. Now this is a form of merchandise I actually see quite often coming out of Japan. It's small or cheapified versions of anime characters that hang off your drinking glass. And that's all there is to it. I've seen the likes of this done with Attack on Titan, and in this case, this is the second wave based exclusively on Pikachu. Now I guess it makes sense with Pikachu being the Pokemon mascot and all, and in the second series, we did see him step it up with some pretty interesting poses. We got Pikachu charging up an electric attack, Pikachu apparently in love with hearts in its eyes, and then this one that got it on the list. Pikachu with swirly eyes, leaning over, kind of about to fall off the cup, I guess. So why does it have the swirly eyes? Has it fainted in battle as is often depicted in the anime? Possibly, but realistically speaking, the Pikachu's drunk. Swirly eyes is often an easy way to depict someone passed out drunk in anime, and that's kind of what we got going on here. Whatever you put in your drink, assuming you're of legal age, Pikachu may have had a bit too much and is now getting kind of dizzy. And from my own experience with this particular Pikachu accessory, it doesn't really hold onto a glass that well, or at least doesn't hold onto my glasses very well. Though, it does make for a pretty cute display among all of my Pikachus, where I just have one that has fallen over because, well, it's drunk. There is merchandise that is effectively implying a drunk Pikachu. It's not explicitly drunk, but that pretty much is a way you can interpret it. It's silly, and I had to own it just for that. Because how often are we going to have a drunk Pikachu? Well, I suppose in a live-action Detective Pikachu it is possible someone could spike his coffee. But are they really going to get away with that? I don't know. I guess we'll see, but yeah. Sexy Time Pikachu, followed up by Drunk Pikachu. What could they possibly come up with next? Number 4. Pokemon Quest Tamaka. I know a while back I said where's all the Pokemon Quest merchandise because I actually got into Pokemon Quest. And then we got merchandise. We got merchandise in the form of a literal cube with an eraser. We got cord keepers, which gave us actual physical representations of the in-game models, which in itself was pretty neat. But how on earth did we end up here? Why is this a thing? I know Tamaka is a line that has often made some very weird Pokemon crossover merchandise, because I've actually shown off a few of these in other videos. But what is this? Okay, so we're combining Bulbasaur with a car and the aesthetic of Pokemon Quest. The layers going on here. We have Pokemon spin-off that is barely a blip in people's radar anymore, toy cars, and it has Bulbasaur's face on it. So, is it sentient? Is it like the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro? I mean, it has windows, so that implies people can go inside it and drive it, right? Right? What's going on here? Why is this a thing? Why does it exist? And why is it getting me so worked up? I don't know! This thing is weird, baffling, and by far one of the weirdest bits of merchandise I've ever seen, if only for the daisy chain of what's going on here. You know what? I take it back. Pokemon Quest merchandise can get very weird. Seriously, to me, this is weirder than potential Sexy Time Pikachu and Drunk Pikachu. How could Pokemon Quest merchandise possibly get any weirder? Oh god, why'd I set myself up for that? Wait, no! Number 3? Oh dear sweet Arceus! Pokemon Quest Poxel Cushion Plush. Why does this exist? Why? Why did I first discover this on HobbyLink Japan of all places? This is proper merchandise? This is official? This is licensed? So, to try and analyze just what we're looking at here, we have a pillow cushion plush that features a Pokeball on top, as well as the faces of possibly, I assume, a Charmander, Eevee, Bulbasaur, or possibly a Squirtle. But either way, I'm pretty sure the 3 Kanto starters are somewhere on the other sides of this thing, and on the bottom is either another Pokeball or just, you know, general red material. And with their gaping mouths, blank dead stares, to me this just reeks of some kind of body horror where their faces were skinned and stitched together to be used as decorative pillows for some Pokemaniac's weird twisted luxury living room. What? Just, what? This is the only one where I truly have no words because I just, Number 2. Pokemon Anahu Horu, otherwise known as Dig a Hole. And we're back to weird little novelty figurines, this time featuring Pokemon popping themselves out of holes in the ground. Now obviously in a line like this, the leading man of the line is Diglett. Makes perfect sense, even though literally all other Pokemon merchandise featuring Diglett would basically be this many times over. However, it wasn't just Diglett in this range. We had Eevee because of course Eevee would be featured in these kind of products because Eevee is pretty much the secondary mascot at this rate. We have Mew, because if we can have Mew sitting in teacups, why not have a Mew popping its head out of the ground? And of course, we have Pikachu, popping its head out and waving to us. How cute. However, that's not the full range. There's one more figure, which is the reason why it ended up on the list. And of course, once again, it's the one that I actually own. It's Pikachu once again, but instead this time, it's in the opposite direction, with Pikachu potentially diving into the hole, or possibly being stuck, with its legs flailing out and everything. From the stock images, it's fairly harmless, until you realize you've just paid money for a figurine that's essentially Pikachu's butt just flailing in the air. That's all this is. It's Pikachu's butt sticking out of a hole. Turn it around, you got some Pika crotch, keep it with its back facing you, and you still got a case of Pika butt in the air. There's no way to get around this, but that's all we got. It's Pikachu's butt sticking out of the dirt. Now I admit, other items on the list have made me freak out a lot more than this, but it's Pikachu's butt, and I don't understand why that's a thing. I mean, it's funny, it is cute in its own weird way, and once again, I bought it, but why? Why? But to be fair, once again, just like Drunk Pikachu and Sexy Time Pikachu, it's all about how you spin the implications of it all. But the last item on the list, I don't think there's much implications that can be had. And what could possibly be weirder than Pikachu's butt sticking out of the ground? Well... And the number one weirdest Pokemon merchandise in the re-gifting is... Pokemon Hasamondesu. Now this is another type of product I've seen quite often with various anime, not just Pokemon. And it's basically stylized paper clips. That's really what's going on here. Despite what you're looking at, every single one of these Pokemon is a paperclip. That Snorlax is shown only from the side because the other side would be a paperclip. And as you can see with this lineup, we're getting a rather predictable assortment of various Pokemon merchandise. It seems like a lot of the Pokemon featured in these ranges will include an Eevee, a Mew, sometimes a Snorlax, it's fairly uncommon. Gengar, I admit, is somewhat rare, but common enough for these kind of products. And of course, plenty of Pikachus. And while the Eevee, Mew, and Gengar each have two different varieties unique to them, the Snorlax only has the one, and Pikachu has 4. And it's the Pikachu ones that have earned the top spot on the list. Because while we have some interesting ones, like Pikachu with its ears down, ears up and sleeping, and one with its back turned to us and its ears up, the weirdest and most bizarre one of all, and of course the one I bought, was this one. One could argue with the previous item that we were looking at Pikachu's back primarily, but this, there's no buts about it. We're looking at a butt. Yeah, this is just Pikachu's butt. It's a paperclip of Pikachu's butt. There exists official merchandise for Pikachu's butt. What? What? There's been some weird Pokemon merchandise throughout the years. Plenty of weird stuff. We got 3 lists dedicated to just very, very bizarre merchandise. But I never thought there would be a product of Pikachu's butt. Of any Pokemon's butt for that matter. And it's a paperclip! Of all things, it's a paperclip! Why is there appeal in a paperclip of Pikachu's butt? Is there anything else I can really say about this? It's a freaking paperclip! It clings to towels, it clings to various other things. Why? Why does this exist? Once again, because people like me will buy it. It only costs like $2, and I suppose it's an interesting talking point. Because if you look at my Pikachu display that I've ended up getting over the years, simply through donations from fans and my own inability to resist the draw of weird and silly novelty items, I've ended up with too many Pikachus, and among them is Pikachu's butt, a Pikachu that's drunk, a Pikachu with its butt sticking out in the air, Sexy Time Pikachu, Pikachu that's a ditto, and berries are the things. It's weird, it's silly, it's very stupid, but I do gotta admit, I do get a mild kick out of it. If you have a Pokemaniac in your life and you think they might like some of these things, go for it. Usually they're cheap enough online, especially on Japanese retailer websites. You might see them at anime conventions, especially the booths that sell the Japanese blind boxes. And yeah. This, to me, is the king, currently, of weird Pokemon merchandise. Because can anyone honestly list an item that is stranger than Pikachu's butt that doubles as a paperclip? I dare anyone to contest me on that. Though I suppose we'll find out if we eventually make a weird merchandise 4. I'm sure it'll happen, right? Probably. And that was my list for the top 10 weird Pokemon merchandise 3, the re-gifting, and I thank you all for watching. If you got your own list of very weird Pokemon merchandise that you know about and I may have not discovered, let me know in the comments down below because I'd love to know what you guys think. And if you want to see other videos like this, please consider supporting my Patreon since every dollar goes a long way to making videos like this possible, and I can't thank my current Patreon supporters enough for just giving me what they can. It honestly truly means the world to me. But yeah, I'm Silver August, bringing you top 10s, top 5s, let's plays, Wi-Fi battles, tournaments, Pixar in review, toy reviews, SL builds, various animated shorts, and everything else we got going on the Silver League networks. I'll see y'all next time, and one can only imagine what will top the items on this list. Oh boy, one can only wonder.